Today we are making a value scale and an intensity saturation chroma scale with ultramarine blue. So I've laid in my values of ultramarine blue. This is in watercolor, so I'm just adding more water as I go up. As I go across to decrease the intensity and the chroma, I am adding the complement of ultramarine blue, which works really well. That is burnt sienna. So as I go across this way, I am getting grayer and grayer. That's too blue. So I have to push my mixture to be grayer. Still too blue. And this is a wonderful exercise in learning how to control the value and the intensity at the same time that you are painting. So we'll see how that goes. I think that's going to be okay. So I'm decreasing the intensity by adding the complement every time, but I'm keeping the value as dark as I can for watercolor. So I may have to go over these again to make them dark enough. But that's the darkest. So as I go up here, I just need to take my lighter ultramarine and add a little bit of the burnt sienna to it. Always thinking in terms of making it lighter than this, but grayer than this. So that step is too great, so I can add a little more blue to that. You can see my palette is just a mixture of all these colors. So that's better. So we have, and remember watercolor dries lighter, so we're lighter than this, but grayer than this. And that's how we do this chart. So we keep moving over. So now I keep getting grayer. If I just remember that gray is my goal over here, so I have to keep adjusting these values, getting a little grayer. And that might work, but lighter than this. So, and we may have to adjust this. We probably will. If you've done a value scale, you know that you have to constantly be adjusting. So the easiest way to make this darker is to just go over it again. Okay, so now it's darker than this, okay? But it's still bluer than that. So this is how we kind of do this. It's a very interesting process that we go through here to get this. And it's quite, okay, we're going grayer, but lighter than that. That's our goal, okay? We just always remember that the way to decrease the intensity or the chroma or the saturation is to either add a gray or add a complement. And I like to add the complement because it's just prettier. So now we need to be lighter than this and grayer than that. So lighter than this and grayer than that. And this is kind of, you just have to experiment to see. Okay, that's a good gray, but it might be too dark because it's darker than this, but we'll see once we wash it out. If I clean my brush and I just use clean water, I can probably soften that and get it to be just what I want it to be. But remember, I've got 2 steps to go, so I'm always thinking about that. I may have to adjust these. So now we're back up here to a lighter ultramarine. So that ultramarine has a lot more water in it, and it needs to be just a little bit grayer. So there we go. My students are doing this in my color theory class in watercolor and in oil and acrylic. So it will be very interesting to see how that goes. Okay, so now I need to be a little grayer. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so we're lighter than that and we're grayer, so we're good. So just the key to watercolor, of course, is to just keep adding water. So then I go down into my brownie grayer, if I go into the burnt sienna mixture a little bit, I just keep getting grayer. I can go all the way to a black with this mixture, which is why I chose it for this exercise. So I think we're pretty good there. To make it grayer, we'll move over in here. Let's see how that looks. Might be too dark. So if I see that it's too dark, all I have to do is add clear water. Okay. So that is grayer and lighter than that, hopefully when it dries. Last one is barely any color at all. So we're up here getting grayer. And it's a subtle change that might have gone gray too fast, so I might put a little more blue in there, because I think we went gray too quickly. That's better. Okay. Next one over is a little grayer, but lighter than this. So let's see if that works. Maybe. Looks a little dark, we'll see. If that's too dark, I can just go back over this one, make this one a little darker. And if that makes that too dark, I can go down here and darken this one up a little bit. So see, it's very adjustable. It's a very adjustable system. Okay, so this is lighter still, and grayer still. Now up here, it's going to be very subtle with changes because we're in that light color. So there's not going to be a big variation. And the grayer I make it, the browner it's going to appear. Okay, so that one is light. But if you don't understand intensity, saturation, which is basically chroma, and you struggle with values, this is a wonderful exercise for you. Thinking I'm going to go back this way because that needs to be a little bluer. This needs to be a little bluer. Okay. So now those are a little too similar. So let's make this one a little bluer. And then, so we've made it bluer, but now we have to adjust these to make them darker. So the easiest way to do that is just to go over them again. So that's darker than that and bluer than this. So with watercolor, this chart's very easy. With oils, it is much more challenging. So okay, so I'm going to darken this one a little bit. And this, I might even lighten a little bit more. So you have to just keep adjusting this until you get what you want. So see, I can lighten that all the way back and then smooth it out. Just make that a little bit better. And when this dries, we should see these variations. So we will see if that works. There you have it. There's a value. There's all three properties of color. There's hue, value, and chroma.